welcome back to the WMCQ here from the Millennium Gloucester Hotel in London. My name is John Partridge, joined by Shay Holland. On behalf of Dark Sphere Magic, welcome to the third and final episode of this year's WMCQ story. Fantastic day of Magic yesterday. 8 rounds of Swiss has left us with 8 fortunate contenders to battle it out for their final place at this year's World Magic Cup. We already know 3 players. Let's see if we can find our 4th today. We're going to send it straight down to the feature match area. Our players are ready. We have chosen to this day put on Matthew Gregory on Jesco Dragons versus Pete Ward on Green Red Dragons. So we'll just give the players a go ahead and we off for a fantastic game of Magic.
So, spoken to both of the competitors yesterday, Matt Gregory feels that this match is probably about 50-50. He feels that he's slightly favoured after the sideboard, but his game 1 is quite difficult. Obviously, Pete Ward is probably quite happy with this matchup. The dragons in his deck are quite difficult for the Jeskai deck to deal with. You know, the Wild Slashes and Lightning Strikes are not the best of cards to deal with for Toughness Dragons. Matt, starting off with Battlefield Forge, unfortunately his lands do a lot of damage to himself, so he is definitely going to be taking some damage today from his lands. However, he has drawn a mountain, so he might be thinking of killing this this Rattleclaw Mystic off. Good argument for it. He doesn't really have an answer to a dragon at this point in time, so he probably wants to kill it. No, he's electing to leave it alive. And are we going to see a dragon from Mr. Ward? So quite hard to see what he has in hand. He's playing this one quite close to his chest, but I'm sure if he has a Thunderbreak Regent, it is definitely coming down this turn. So no dragon, but a Death Mist Raptor. We talking about this card yesterday during the game for Mark Laley. It is a very strong card actually. The abilities of it are incredibly relevant. Just get it up on screen. So as you can see, it's a 3/3 for 3 with Death Touch, and whenever a permanent you control is turned face up, you can return the Death Mist Raptor from your graveyard, to the battlefield. You can either put it face up or face down. So obviously in a deck filled with cards like Rattleclaw Mystic and probably Den Protectors, but we haven't actually got Pete Ward's deck list on us right now. He is definitely going to be recurring these Death Mist Raptors, so it will be interesting to see how Matt decides to deal with them. Pete electing to play another Mystic, this time in the form of an Elvish one, so really looking to accelerate his mana with some creatures, and maybe there's a Storm Breath in his hand, so Matt deciding to Lightning Strike the Death Mist Raptor. Unfortunately, Lightning Striking a Death Mist Raptor isn't the best, as any morph card will just bring it straight back, so Matt unfortunately with nothing on turn 3, but we can't see his full hand. So, it looks like he has a copy of a Disdainful Stroke. So he's elected to not cast anything and would much rather just kill just counter any dragon that is potentially going to be played this turn. So
Well, we found the deck lists.
excellent.
Took a little bit of fight to look for it, but I've got them here. That's Pete's. Okay, so
Yep.
Right, so nice and easy. Very simple deck. In fact, yes, there are 2 Den Protectors, so he's gone very much for the list that Brad Nelson played at GP London, that sort of idea of Death Mist Raptor, Den Protector, and, well, turns out Stormbreath Dragons as well. Unfortunately, meeting Disdainful Stroke at this point in the game.
Yep.
Matt on a Malta 6.
Mhm.
He's probably happy with the position he's in. He's still taking a lot of damage at the moment, and his mana base, well, fortunately it's not too painful.
Yeah.
But his white mana is going to cost him a little bit of life. But so far we're going. So we've got another Lightning Strike. Reasonable draw, but at this point the mana accelerators are... Pete's not going to be too worried about the mana accelerators right now, but we see 2 mana being tapped.
For a
We've
Jace.
seen Jace Vryn's Prodigy.
Yeah.
Card from Origins, been making such an impact in Standard
Exactly.
since its release.
Unfortunately, this does allow Pete, if he wants to, or if he has one, to get a dragon down this turn.
But I believe Pete's hand is Draconic Roar, land, and, well, Kratos Claws. And Kratos Claws good at ending games, and I think the Draconic Roar could be removing this Jace very quickly from the game.
Yeah.
Can't allow that guy to stay around too long. See Lightning Strike, and unfortunately Jace is going to the graveyard.
So Pete in for 3 here. Now Matt is already down to 13. So, you know, getting a dragon, and the dragon on Kratos Claws is probably actually going to get close to lethal.
Right.
So, you know, he's debating whether or not
Pete needs some help very, very quickly, because there is the ever elusive Dragon Lord Ojutai hanging out in Matt Gregory's hand right now, alongside the Lightning Strike. He finds the land. I think this takes opportunity.
Oh, definitely.
Dragon Lord Ojutai, welcome
Yeah.
back to the feature match area. We missed you most of yesterday. Doing good work in the other matches.
Yeah, we you know, we are looking at
And we see
such a powerhouse. You know,
draw of a temple, unfortunately, draw of a land.
Matt wants to finish this game as quickly as possible on his Malta 6. And, you know, he is more than happy for this Ojutai to come down this turn. It allows him to prevent some damage this turn, because Pete probably won't be attacking into it. And at the moment, it's unkillable. So it's going to be...
And it's probably going to connect for 5 as well.
Yep.
The Kratos Claws not so good at dealing with...
It's not instant speed, is it?
It's not. So he will be dropped down to 14. But
Yep.
it does free up his creatures to attack.
It does.
And the race, well, it favours Matt, but it can all change. One Stormbreath Dragon certainly changes all of that.
Yep, but it depends what Matt gets off this. Oh, and there's a Thunderbreak Regent. Wow.
Nice.
So he gets to play the Thunderbreak Regent.
It's also a Magma Spray and a Lander. I don't think he wants either of them.
No, it was an exquisite firecraft.
That's extremely high cost. Dragons, lands, well, they're all good right now. And
But
also
this is
it
really
allows him to lead
important.
up the lightning strike.
This is really important, because it allows him to pseudo protect his Ojutai. Because if Ojutai now gets targeted by this Kratos Claws, it's going to deal 3 to Pete. So he is probably not going to want to Kratos Claws this turn on the Ojutai. But we'll see what he does. And there is the Thunderbreak Regent. So we will... Dueling Dragons right now. The Jeskai deck doing slightly better impression of a
Jace
dragon
as
deck.
well.
Yes.
Quite the draw there for.
I mean, as a Malta 6 goes, you are not at all unhappy about this,
I think Pete's struggling a little bit. He's not drawn the hand raised deck, but as we speak, Stormbreath Dragon.
Very good at holding off an Ojutai.
Very good at holding off an Ojutai. Doesn't hold off Thunderbreak Region, but Pete's still at 14, and Matt doesn't have that one blowout card which Pete has access to in Kratos Claws.
Exactly.
And right now, I'm very sure you just say play this Stormbreath Dragon and pass the turn. And
No, I mean he can actually kill one of the dragons on Matt's side of the field
might be
after the Thunderbreak. So he can play the Thunderbreak, the Stormbreath, and kill the Thunderbreak. He takes 3 down to 11, but it holds off the Ojutai quite effectively.
Or do you want to save that for the final big attack you for 4, Kratos Claws you for lethal?
He might do, but obviously he has seen Disdainful Stroke, so he might want to avoid it. He might want to just try and kill off these Ojutais now. Kill off the Ojutai. His Stormbreath isn't going to... If he attacks with Stormbreath now, I think there is 0 chance that Matt doesn't immediately snap block with the Thunderbreak Regent. There's very little reason to. I think what you want to be doing here is playing your Stormbreath.
Oh, here we go.
And Kratos causing the Thunderbreak.
Speaking of which, Fabled 4/4 Dragon has made its appearance.
Yep.
Very hard for the Jeskai decks to beat. Stoke the
Yes.
Flames or Bust, almost.
Exactly.
We see Kratos Claws
On the
triggering Ferocious.
Thunderbreak.
Dealing with that. So he's just going to do a quick maths count. Take 3, down to 11. But, well, Stormbreath Dragon does a very good job of holding off. And he's in for 4.
Yep.
In fact, he's going to beat down Central. Realising that actually you have to get this game over with. Putting Matt
Interesting
down.
to decide to do that, because obviously Matt does have this Haven in play. So a land off the top will allow him to get back the Thunderbreak and play it. And he does have 2 tries at this land. Ooh,
Or Mantis Rider. and a lightning strike. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Well,
Wow.
ooh.
Ooh.
Is it may not be a Mantis Rider?
It was. It was definitely a Mantis Rider. I think.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and a leg. Yeah.
I think Matt just didn't realise.
No.
I think he went for he tried to go for the play of Haven of the Spirit Dragon into.
Very interesting.
Interesting. So.
Yeah,
he can flip the Jace and cast 2 lightning strikes this turn anyway.
Sure. I like the more flamboyant way of casting my Mantis Rider and
Exactly.
going beat down Central.
So
I
here's a lightning
I
strike.
don't understand all these
Minus
flashy
2 lightning,
things with lightning
minus
bolts.
3 Jace, make another lightning strike, and that is game.
Mr. Gregory steals game number 1.
Wow.
Right from under Pete's nose.
Exactly. So
Pete struggled a little bit. He missed a few important cards.
Yes.
He only found 1 dragon early. That got
Yep.
Disdainful Stroked. It didn't really have much else. The Death Mist Raptor not quite able to go the distance and not finding a card to be able to flip it up. But
yeah,
sideboard, well, I think the sideboard will bring some help for him. The main cards that stand out for me are the 1 Plummet, 1 copy of Rending Volley, fantastic against Ojutai. You can't stop it.
Exactly.
It gives him an instant way of dealing with it. And well, his 2 copies of Arbor Colossus. And if any of you have ever played Jeskai decks with dragons in, and your opponent slams a Arbor Colossus, that card is very, very hard to beat.
Yep.
6/6 reach that can just become a 9/9 and blow up one of your dragons. Well,
Yep.
that's one
So
way to
it
go.
looks like for Matt, he has decided to bring in his 2 Anger of the Gods, his 2 Elspeths, I believe it was 1 Tragic Arrogance, and his 2 copies of the Disdainful Stroke. I really like the Tragic Arrogance coming in here.
Interesting.
Because Pete plays mana experiments in the forms of Elvish Mystics. So Tragic Arrogance allows him to keep his own Ojutai and kill off Pete's dragons and leave him with an Elvish Mystic.
Yeah.
And I think that is incredibly important here. Obviously, Anger of the Gods deals with the Mana Dorks as well as the Death Mist Raptors and Den Protectors, and the Elspeth is just Elspeth.
Elspeth's good against all these decks. It's able to gum up the ground. It's also, well, it kills dragons as well.
Yep. So Matt deciding what to get rid of. He wants to keep in his Ojutai's command, which I think is right. He, interestingly, is taking out some number of Jace.
Okay, I'm not a fan of Jace this matchup. Pete has a
No.
lot of cheat removal, and well, Jace is a little bit slow.
Yeah.
That's the thing with Jace.
Exactly.
He's a little bit slow. I mean, Pete can also bring in more copies of Den Protector. There are extra copies of Den Protector which you can bring in for this matchup, and that card is it's good in this matchup, obviously. But Jace, well, it's a little bit too slow, and if Matt's taking out some of his cheaper removal spells like Lightning Strike and stuff like that because they aren't as good against the deck that Pete's playing, well, Jace becomes a little bit worse. But obviously, they know a lot more about this matchup than we do. So just see the players shuffling up for game number 2. Matt Gregory, 1 to the good. Very good start for him there. So we were discussing this last night when we were having our food, having our dinner last night with some of the guys, and it was very much a split decision over who we felt was favoured in this match. Some of us felt that if Pete could get far out in front, it would be hard for Matt to come back, purely because he has a lot of very difficult cards to deal with. In terms of Stormrift Dragon's very hard for the Jeskai decks to deal with, but no, Matt was never the underdog. This matchup I felt was very close.
Yeah, definitely. And I remember, like I said earlier, I'd been speaking to Matt, and I asked him, how do you feel about this matchup? And he said that he feels that his game 1 is really bad, but his second and third game are probably okay. He feels that he has a decent enough matchup post board because he gets obviously access to copies of Disdainful Strokes. But I think he was very worried about being on the play. So winning that game on a multi-6 on the draw, I think he's going to be extremely happy. And I think that is definitely going to fill him with some confidence, and definitely, almost hopefully, will allow him to close out game number 2 or 3 in a victory. So players just shuffled up. Matt looking at an interesting hand, actually. What appears to be 2 copies of Ojutai's Command. and a copy of Soulfire Grandmaster, and a copy of Anger of the Gods.
So he's setting up for a slightly longer game.
Yeah, and I really like the Anger of the Gods here.
Yeah.
If he gets to a point where he can Anger of the Gods with Soulfire Grandmaster out, it's going to be very hard for Pete to come back.
I mean, whether or not he has a Soulfire in play,
Oh,
Anger of the Gods
exactly.
very good against Pete's deck, because normally the Green Red Dragon decks evolved used to not really play any 3 toughness creatures, used to rely on Courser of Crufix, Palukrinos, if we think back to Ravnica Standard and Theros Standard, whereas this format, well, they've had to go more towards Deathmist Raptor and Den Protector, and
I mean,
those cards definitely don't integrate
and they're still
well.
such a great engine, aren't they?
Yes,
I
even
mean,
to Anger of the Gods.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, you're looking at a format, it's changed that because it had to warp to beat the Esper Dragons deck. Otherwise, you know, he'd flood out, not flood, sorry, he would...
He would get too far behind, wouldn't be able to do anything, and, well, we've just seen...
one of Pete's
probably the trump in the matchup. I mean, this is probably the trump of all trumps for a game where your opponent's trying to do something similar to you. He's just drawn one of his copies of Arbor Colossus. Obviously, for those at home who don't know, it's a 2 green devotion enabler for most decks. 6/6. So it's a 6/6 for 5, which is normally quite good on that end anyway, with reach.
Exactly.
And then for a small modicum amount of mana of 3 green, monstrosity 3 becomes a 9/9. When Arbor Colossus becomes monstrous, destroy target creature with flying and opponent controls.
Yeah, now if I'm Matt, I quite like probably killing the Rattleclaw Mystic here, because
Pete didn't do anything.
Pete didn't do anything. So Pete doesn't have a 4-mana dragon, but he might have a 5-mana, and slowing him down that turn to allow yourself to hopefully get that Oddities command would just be backbreaking. So it will be interesting to see what Matt does in his turn. But it looks like Pete has found a Force Land,
one Stormbreath Dragon,
and a Stormbreath,
and a Den Protector as well. So he's got Arbor Colossus, Stormbreath Dragon, and Den Protector. So we might see a morph here.
Yeah.
And actually, well, with Pete's deck, they are actually mystery morphs. There is a lot of different things they could be.
Yeah, so Matt didn't see any Den Protectors in game 1, but that doesn't mean that he might not know that Pete's running them. So, you know, he might be worried about this. So
the question will now be, does Matt have a 4th land? It's just drawn Thunderbreak Regent.
Yeah, but there is an Arbor Colossus coming down next turn.
Well,
so
we got to hope so. If that's a Rattleclaw Mystic, then definitely.
Yeah.
And it's going to make this Mantis Rider look a little bit
It is. But
and even if it trades for Lightning Strike, well, the Arbor Colossus has... he's 2 for 1 to his opponent with an Arbor Colossus, and then he gets to cast a Stormbreath. And we could just see the Stormbreath Dragon coming down now, and, well, that's a very interesting race. We see Draconic Roar off the top as well. That is a very good draw.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's a Den Protector on the ground, well, this turn gets even better, because he'll Draconic Roar with my Stormbreath Dragon, kill your Mantis Rider, get him for 3, getting back my Draconic Roar.
Brutal. It'll be interesting actually if this is a Rattleclaw. I think he's able to cast a Stormbreath and...
Yeah, of course. For those of you who are not aware of the Rattleclaw Mystics, well, we'll call it second ability. The one that has been seen a lot more play more recently. It has the ability to be morphed, and for the grand total of 2 mana, unmorphed, and creates green, blue, red mana.
Yep.
Of course, then gets to tap itself, so its net gains you 2 mana.
Exactly.
A very good place to be. It's a very good card. The Devotion decks have started going towards it as a way of just exploding, but we see a 5th land anyway. 2 mana.
A Rattleclaw.
Ooh, so Rattleclaw Mystic, make 3,
4,
make 4, 5.
Here's a Stormbreath.
Stormbreath Dragon, 2 mana, Draconic Roar.
Draconic Roar. Wow. 4. Take 3, and hit you for
take
4. So Matt down to 11 after that turn.
Wow. And this is one of the powerful things. He now has 5 lands for his Den Protector as well.
Exactly. Matt.
And that Anger of the Gods starting to look a lot worse.
Yeah,
especially
Matt's
with an Arbor Colossus slightly coming down next turn.
Yeah, Matt is now stuck on 3 lands. Bit unfortunate. He's not able to cast anything really in his hand. So I think he's just going to go for a Soulfire Grandmaster and pass of the turn. So I mean, Pete still has this Arbor Colossus in hand. He still has the Den Protector for Draconic Roar. He doesn't have a 6th land, so he isn't able to Draconic Roar this turn.
Well, he has 6 mana in play.
Yes, but he's not got.
He doesn't have the land. He needs a land off the top to be able to do both. And we see Matt unfortunately having at least one Stormbreath Dragon, at least one Thunderbreak Regent, and unfortunately they're not able to be cast. But Pete, I think he's quite happy where he is right now. Rattleclaw Mystic, obviously, no fear of the Soulfire Grandmaster.
No, now Matt's obviously blocking here because he is worried about a Kratos Claws for lethal.
And to be fair, this is probably better for Pete because it gets his mana accelerant off the board. So if any Matt does have to hit 5 mana, he's not got any dead cards for the Tragic Arrogance.
Exactly.
And this is the power of the Red Green Dragons deck. Because it's so quick, it has the mana acceleration. It really punishes any sort of slow draw from the
any deck.
And I think right now he should be just windmill slamming this Arbor Colossus into play. He can't at the moment. He hasn't got triple green.
No, he doesn't.
Before I put my fist where my mouth is,
yep.
Foot where my mouth is, he's going for the Den Protector instead.
No, that was the Rattleclaw Mystic.
Rattleclaw Mystic. So he's still got Den Protector in hand and an Arbor Colossus.
So Matt just finding the 4th land. Now, this is worrying. He's going for the Stormbreath. Now, Thunderbreak. Now, I like this. I think he has to go for the Thunderbreak this turn. You know, as much as he'd like to keep up the Oddities command.
Well, unfortunately, this Stormbreath Dragon's going to be going monstrous if that's a Rattleclaw Mystic.
It is, and
that's a whole lot of damage.
Yeah, that would be 4
down to
damage.
5 and forcing a chump block.
Yeah.
From his dragon. And Stormbreath Dragon, a 7/7, almost impossible to kill for Matt Gregory's deck. So we see the Rattleclaw Mystic making 3, make it 4, 5, 6, and 7. Well, that's seen enough.
Yeah.
That's a lot of damage. It's down to 5 and a 7/7
exactly.
Stormbreath Dragon.
I don't think that was. I think Matt knew that was not really going to go in his favour, unfortunately. Very hard to deal with Stormbreath Dragon, as it turns out.
Yes. And although obviously in that position it looks very good.
So Matt just consulting his sideboard to see if there's anything he would like to change around. He's taken out his Valorous stances.
I think I like that a lot. He didn't see the Arbor Colossus, and that's
exactly.
the fascinating thing. Pete played that one very well. He didn't reveal the extra information.
Exactly.
Even though he could never cast it.
Yep.
He never had to reveal it, and even when he did find the Rattleclaw Mystic, he said, "No, I'm the Monstrous My Dragon. Let's just end this game now. Let's get this all over and done with."
Yeah, which I think, unfortunately for Matt, it means that he has left out his Valorous stance. He would like them in if he knew about the Arbor Colossus, but unfortunately, he doesn't. So it'll be interesting to see how see if Matt changes his sideboarding options at all.
I think at the moment he probably sticks to his current setup. It seems it's a very strong setup, but we just saw that unfortunately the Red Green Dragons do what it does best, getting ahead and not letting it go.
Yeah.
Doesn't like handing things back. So, and it's been very interesting. We've seen both players basically going sort of maybe against what we expected. Sort of expected Pete to maybe win game 1 and then struggle game 2, and in fact, no, Matt won game 1 and then Pete won game 2.
Yeah.
Turns out although we do play Magic, we maybe don't know as much as the players do, and a very good result there for Pete to be able to level the game up 1 apiece, and on to game 3. And it's been a very interesting one actually. All the other matches are currently still being played.
Yep.
So this was the other reason we put this one on camera, because obviously we had a few technical issues setting this all up. We decided we'll put these 2 on camera.
Yep.
Just because the matchups are a little bit faster. 2 dragon decks don't take long to start beating into each other.
Exactly. Even if one of them is playing blue.
Best colour in Magic, apparently.
Apparently
so.
I mean, it gives you access to Ojutai, right?
Gives you access to counter spells. Sorry, Dragon Lord Ojutai. There are certain things I would rather be doing than playing Dragon Lord Ojutai, which is countering what they're trying to do. Yeah. They're on the table, bro. So we see players shuffling up for game number 3. Both players were able to keep a 7 in the last game, so fingers crossed, same again.
Matt's hand looks like it has some
Firecraft.
burn and some disdainful strokes. So
Well, it's a good place to be.
Exactly.
But he also has lands as well, which is important. See if we can get a look at Pete's hand. He's got at least a couple of lands there, a couple of red spells. Does he have a mana accelerator? That's the problem. He has a copy of Draconic Roar, and actually Draconic Roar probably better in this matchup than some people give it credit for. Everyone's like, oh, it's got dragons and stuff, but actually, you've got Jace, Soulfire Grandmaster, and Mantis Rider, and all of those, well, they need to be got off the table very quickly.
I think Matt realising this has actually boarded out both his Jace and his Soulfire Grandmaster.
You see Mantis Rider rolling.
There is a Mantis Rider still, but